Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking about color correcting and how you can conceal certain problem areas on your face with different colors of concealer. This is something that I've just started really doing in the past year, and I wish that I had known these techniques years ago. Color correcting, if you don't know, is when you use different shades of concealer to neutralize different problem areas on your face. So for me, the problems that I often have with my skin are redness from my acne, dark under eye circles, and sometimes blotchiness when my skin gets sensitive. So there are different concealers that have these fun colors that actually help those just totally disappear underneath your foundation. So today I'm going to be taking you through my color correcting routine, and this is also kind of like my full coverage foundation routine because I don't do this every day, but when I'm doing like a special event or I really just want a full coverage, super even skin tone for whatever I'm doing, this is what I do. So if you want to know how to correct different problem areas on your face so that they completely disappear under your foundation, keep watching. So it turns out that this is kind of a great weekend to do this color correcting because my skin looks horrible. Kind of bittersweet, right? So I'm going to show you typically what I commonly do when I'm color correcting based on my own skincare concerns. So color correcting always comes after primer for me just because you are using concealer, that's what it is. So right now I'm using the e.l.f. Blemish Control Face Primer because my acne has been insane the past couple days, and I think it's because the weather in Los Angeles changed overnight from 50 degrees to 80 degrees. So yeah, every time there's some kind of change like that, my face don't like it. The color that I use the most often when correcting is green. So green cancels out red. If you're looking at a color wheel, when I say cancel out, I'm talking about the color that is directly cross from the color you want to conceal. Green cancels out red, and right now my very favorite green concealer is the NYX HD concealer, and this is in the shade green, and this is in their regular line of concealers where you can get this like as your skin color too, but then it also comes in this color correcting shade. This formula specifically is super thick and actually full coverage, so I really only have to dot it on right over the redness that I want to conceal, and obviously this looks crazy. With this, basically, I just go in and pat with my finger. You can also use a sponge if you want. And you don't want to completely like blend it into your skin, like you're still gonna see green, obviously. So it's when you put your normal concealer or foundation over it, then it starts to neutralize. As we can see, my problem areas are very nicely laid out for us. The second most common color that I use when color correcting, that is a tongue twister, is pale yellow. And this is the Ulta Color Correct Concealer Palette, and this just came out and I'm really liking it because you have just such a range of colors to work with. So pale yellow, what I use that for is combating my under eye circles. So yellow is opposite purple on the color wheel, and so it's gonna even out any darkness around the eye area. For under eye circles, I definitely want to use a sponge. This is the Beauty Blender Micro Mini, and I'm just spraying it with Evian water to help expand it and get it nice and plush. I'll just go ahead and take this with my ring finger and pat it on first. And today my under eye circles are not that bad, so there's not too much that needs to be covered up. But I'm liking this concealer palette as well, not only for the colors, but the concealer has more of a thin consistency, which is perfect for under eyes specifically. So that's what I've been using this palette the most for, whereas I need a little bit more coverage for the green shade. So now I'm just going to take my Beauty Blender Micro Mini and go in and blend that out. And depending on how much you need to cover, you can blend this in a little bit better than I did with the green. It doesn't have to be as thick before foundation. This formula also plays really nicely with my dry under eyes because that's also a problem for me. And a lot of concealers accentuate that, but this one doesn't, so I really like this palette. Alright, so far we've done green on my red areas and yellow in my purpley under eye bags. Now, as a complete reverse from what we just did, there's also purple concealer to address the yellow splotches that you might end up with on your face for whatever reason, just unevenness in skin tone. and purple will brighten that up. Now, I find myself often with more yellowy splotches. I do already have a yellow undertone to my skin, but I can start seeing it come out more in certain areas when my skin is a little bit more sensitive, especially during winter. I'm just gonna go, and you really just have to spot correct where you see any patchiness, and it's going to lighten that up. And you can use your fingers for this again. The one area that I really emphasize using a sponge is my under eye, but everything else I'm pretty much like totally fine. The last shade that I have used in my personal color correcting regimen is blue. And this is the Coastal Scents Camel Quad. They have a bunch of skin tone shades that they sell, but then they have this one color correcting palette, and what blue equalizes is orange. So this actually helps a lot when I have hyperpigmentation from my acne that's already healed. Usually I'm left with a dark orange splotch. Also, what blue can help for is if you self-tan and it ends up looking a little bit splotchy and orange, you can use blue. That's going to be your saving grace to even that out, especially right before you do your makeup. So I've got some darker orange splotches from hyperpigmentation just kind of all over my face. It kind of sucks. Again, this I'm going to treat just like the green, so I am going to leave it pretty obvious and just kind of pat it in with my finger as opposed to blending it out, because I want to keep that coverage after I put my foundation on. So now that I've done all my color correcting, we used 4 different shades for 4 different skin problems. Now I'm going to go ahead and actually cover everything with my foundation. So this is the CoverGirl Outlast Stay Luminous Foundation. You've seen me use this before. When I'm color correcting, I do tend to use a more medium to full coverage foundation on top, because obviously you don't want these colors coming through. So this is a really nice kind of in-between where it's lightweight, but it doesn't have problems covering anything. And I'm using my Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, and you'll start to see this color disappear and taking all that discoloration with it. And another thing, and just kind of like as if you were putting foundation on top of any concealer, I'm doing more of a patting, stippling motion instead of sweeping, because I don't want the color to migrate under the foundation. I want it to stay right where I put it. And then just because I have so much cream product on my face, I'm going to go ahead and powder everything down. So I've done my foundation. I did add my brows and a little bit of mascara just to pull the look together. But as you can see, without anything else on my face besides those color correcting concealers and my foundation, I have a really nice even base with no discoloration. You can't see any of my acne, can't see any of my hyperpigmentation. So this is definitely the routine that I go for when I'm doing like full coverage and I want everything hidden. Even with medium to full coverage foundation, for me, it can be hard to hide some of that discoloration because you're building up in one area and it just doesn't look as seamless as with the rest of your face that you might not need as much coverage on. And that's it. That's 4 ways to color correct. There are definitely a few other shades of concealer that are used to battle different types of concerns that I don't personally have, but these 4 ways of color correcting are the ones that I actually use in my routine. And every time I take the time to color correct, I can't stop staring at my skin. I'm just like, why can't you look like this always? Alright everyone, thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button, and if your subscribe button's red, you better click it. I will see you in my next video. Bye! So after adding the Ardell Dummy Wispy Lashes, I just went back in with the Physicians Formula Liner to thicken up my line and conceal the lash band.